hard to say if there's a bad place. Like, there's places that I wouldn't want to go. I don't want to go to Rio Rancho, but if there were a comedy club in Rio Rancho, then I would go to Rio Rancho.
You're listening to Comedy Ghost Town, where we investigate why Albuquerque, New Mexico has no designated stand-up comedy club. My name is Sarah Kennedy. In 2014, a meme surfaced and started to spread among people in Albuquerque online. The post featured a map of Albuquerque, but instead of highlighting street names or historical sites, it focused on giving center stage to the stereotypical perceptions sprinkled across town. The makers of the map did not pull punches, and they made sure to make fun of everyone across the board. From the neighborhood known as the Heights, or as the map called out, the location of the preppy crackers, down to the neighborhood called the South Valley, where the map claims that all the tire shops were drug fronts. The post was a popular format, one of a wave of judgmental maps being developed across the country, and locally it made waves, going moderately viral and even being talked about on the local news. Not everyone found the jokes to be funny, but honestly, instead of using valuable podcast time to explain each aspect of a visual sight gag-based post and its humorous merit, I'd rather use it as the perfect backdrop for an important discussion we need to have, and in fact constantly do have, in regards to a comedy club existing in Albuquerque. Where would it be located? You most likely won't have a map of Albuquerque, judgmental or otherwise, in front of you during this episode. So for the sake of making the visual somewhat digestible in an audio format, imagine that Albuquerque is broken up into 4 quadrants. The Northwest features the West Side suburbs, or as the judgmental map calls it, the cookie-cutter communities. The Northeast, or as it's also known, the Northeast Heights, is home to the previously mentioned preppy crackers, as well as car cruisers with daddy's money. The Southeast has a mishmash of communities, including what the map points out was once called the War Zone, but has since been rebranded the International District, Nob Hill, and the greater area around the University of New Mexico, and Kirtland Air Force Base, where the map says disdainful military transplants live. To the southwest, you'll find the downtown district, the touristy Old Town, and the aforementioned South Valley, where the map says you can find those tire shops. Okay. So now that you've got a lay of the land, along with the color commentary about it, here's where people believe a comedy club should go in Albuquerque. First up is Rusty Rutherford, who you've heard before on this podcast, and alongside comedian Curt Fletcher, was one of the authors of the Albuquerque Judgmental Map.
I think Nob Hill area is a really good spot for a comedy club. I talked to Stephen Michael Casada once, and he brought some things to my mind that people go to stand-up comedy shows on dates. People go to bars and clubs to meet other people. For stand-up, it doesn't matter if you're married, if it's an anniversary, or if it's a first date. It's a good place to take dates. Downtown, I feel, is more of the meeting people spot. You get rowdiness downtown, which could be great for a club. But I feel like if you go someplace like Nob Hill, you're still close to downtown. You're close to the city. It's a little more classy. So yeah, I'd say Nob Hill.
Rusty wasn't the only person who thought Nob Hill was a great location. Dr. Greg of Greg's Comedy Basement, who we discussed a few episodes ago, agreed.
I would probably, maybe it's because I spent so much time in the area, but I would want to go after Nob Hill. A lot of foot traffic. It's where a lot of the people would pour in from to come to my show anyways. So I think that way you're going to get people who are, you can bark a little bit, get people off the street to maybe come in and check out a show, especially when you're somewhere close, on the east side of Nob Hill, closer to campus, so people can walk in and be pleasantly surprised, hopefully.
Not everyone is so sure about Nob Hill as an option, like New York/Denver/traveling man comic Brett Hiker.
I would have to put it on Central. A few years ago, I would really give a strong consideration to Nob Hill. But the last time I was in Albuquerque, I was there for a friend's wedding, and I was like, I want to check out Nob Hill, but I didn't have a car, so I walked from downtown to Nob Hill, which I forgot is quite a long walk. And when I got there, there was nothing. It was in the middle of the day on either a Saturday or a Sunday. But yeah, it was really hard to find a place to just a destination to sit down and have a drink and head back. I couldn't find anything. I think I just literally just turned back after a while and walked back without actually accomplishing anything. And I don't know why Nob Hill slowed down, because they had some of the smartest audiences. There was a regular show at a hookah lounge on it was a monthly show, Thursdays, I believe. And it was one of the best audiences because it was an under 21 bar, because it was just hookah. And sometimes they're, that 18-21 can be a great crowd because they're so excited to be out at an adult event that they actually put on their best behavior. You would think that they'd be rowdy and whatnot, but instead they're just like, oh, I can't believe I get to go to a comedy show. These events are usually 21 and up. And they were so attentive and actually really polite and usually great laughers too. And they were just a bunch of college kids and mostly underclassmen. And those shows were so much fun.
The next most popular spot was in the Southwest, downtown in particular. Comedian Buck D, who you remember from last episode, had thoughts about a club there.
Where in town? I put it downtown, right between 3rd and 5th on Central. 3rd and 5th on Central, because it's easily found and you can get the walk-up traffic as well. That's a no-brainer. And it's Central. Even if people are coming from Rio Rancho, and if you're listening, you don't know where that's at, that's a little, 10, 15 miles away, they'll still come because it's Central and there's other things to do besides just the comedy club.
Yeah. And while he is a representative for the west side of Albuquerque, Representative Maestas also thinks downtown is where the club should be.
Obviously, downtown. We have to revitalize our downtown here in Albuquerque. I think if we had a comedy show in downtown and then maybe every Thursday elsewhere, that'd be fantastic. But anywhere really, Albuquerque, you're 20 minutes from everywhere in Albuquerque. So no matter where you put it, if it's a nice atmosphere, I'd go west side, but as an Albuquerquean, you got to go downtown.
And Genevieve Garcia de Mueller had similar thoughts.
I really think it needs to be downtown. I really do. It needs to be downtown. But it would have been really cool if it was in Nob Hill like 10 years ago, like a decade ago. I think it would have been good. But now I'm not so sure. I think probably downtown.
Some people were not too keen on downtown, like Garage founder and producer William Wheeler.
I wouldn't put it downtown. I'd probably put it in like a central location in Albuquerque, so it's not 20 minutes for this person get to it and 5 minutes for this person get to it. I would try to put it like in a central location where Green Jeans is off of the freeway. I think the only people that would roll in would be people that are there to see it. That way you don't have a bunch of riffraff coming in and out or just hanging out outside. That way it'd be a little bit more of a success that way. Yeah, that's where I would put it.
Similar to William, comedian, producer, and radio personality AMarie Castillo thinks that somewhere more centrally located gives a club the best chance to survive.
Oh my God, this is such a fun question. Whereas I think it should be in the middle, not downtown, not the Heights. Kind of, I like where like Revel is, like right smack in the middle, because then you can get your Heights. Because us Heights kids are weird. We don't like going to the West Side, and then the West Side kids don't like coming to the Heights. And no downtown. Let's be a little. I'm just kidding. But then it'd be good. I don't know. Or the university area. I say the university area, or like smack in the middle, like where Revel is. I don't know if people will know that when listening to this. We're like smack in the middle of Albuquerque. Yeah. Where freeways cross.
So we've got quite a few nice options, but where should we stay away from? I went out to a local open mic to get some more perspectives, and here's what the other comics in town think. In order, you'll hear from Zach Abeyta, Chuck Parker, Stef Darnell, Carla Vasquez, and Marc J.
Definitely a bad place to put a comedy club would be anywhere from downtown to Nob Hill. They already failed one time, and I think the reason is like no parking. That area is for bars and nightclubs, like not for a comedy club. It's a different audience. So like for dates that want to go out, an older couple that wants to come see a show, they're not trying to go in the middle of the most rowdiest part of downtown to see a show. And same goes for Nob Hill. Ever since they did the art project, and it's so hard to cross the street in Central, which you think would be the best place for a comedy club, it's really hard for people to park. I was really thinking about like Lobo Theater would be a great place for comedy shows, but just trying to think of where you would house 450 cars in that area around the UNM campus would be almost impossible. So I think it's hard because some of the best places in Albuquerque that you would think would be a comedy club are really the worst. Didn't ask, but I would say one of the best areas might be like Uptown, because it's popping, it's still a lot of foot traffic, there's a lot of parking. So I think that would be my spot, go Uptown. Uptown has a lot of restaurants, foot traffic, a ton of parking, and there'd be places for people to grab food and drinks before the show, all the kind of stuff you're looking for with a comedy night. So I'd go Uptown for the win.
It's hard to say if there's a bad place, like there's places that I wouldn't want to go. I don't want to go to Rio Rancho, but if there were a comedy club in Rio Rancho, then I would go to Rio Rancho. It's probably a bad idea to open up a comedy club on, Tennessee Street in between Zuni and Central, but I would go there if they opened a comedy club there. So I guess technically bad places you could go, but I think that anybody would go if you did actually open one. You could open one under a bridge or on Tingley Beach or at the bottom of a lake here, and I think that as a comedian, I would be overjoyed that there was a comedy club.
Man, probably the zone, man, the war zone. For real, the military don't even really want to be in the war zone, and they right in the heart of it. War zone is literally right outside the gates. I don't see the money in it. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go down there, there's a potential that shit can pop off. If they had a club there, like Chuck said, I would go. I've done shows in the zone and nothing happened at all. There were some good shows, but I don't think I would put a club down there. There'd be a lot of insurance. That's all I'm saying. Insurance gonna be high.
Where's a good spot?
Man, I really think that despite what my man Chuck said, I think Rio Rancho would be a good spot to have one out there for them, those people who are gobbling up comedy, right? Everything that come out there, they're packing it out and bringing their kids and shit. They don't even care, it's whatever. They might have to be cleaner or whatever, but I think there's money out there. That's what at the end of the day, most of us are doing it because I like to get paid to do it.
Yeah, like they said, war zone. I wouldn't preferably like to drive too far, but also I would say even more specifically the inside of the club is important to me as far as where the bar is located and the door and the bathrooms, because we've had places where the bar is right next to the stage, so are the bathrooms, so is the door, and it's very distracting. So that more to me, or if there's an outside area you're doing comedy, you gotta be mindful of weather. Here we have a lot of it, so you never know.
Where's a good place?
Probably downtown or maybe off the freeway somewhere. Off I-25 somewhere is usually good. Maybe I'm saying that because Revel works, but I think it's just the convenience for people to get right off the highway. And then if you're downtown, there's other stuff to do around there. And I think right now our downtown.
A bad place to...
Starting up and coming, it'd be rad to have more of a pool.
So a bad place to have a comedy club, I got a little different output than the other comedians will have because my material, I want to get into the rugged, those slums, those areas, say, for example, the war zone. And it wouldn't, hurt that I live right down the street, but that's neither here nor there. But the thing about it is, I just feel if it's in the war zone, I know there's some insurance issues and different things like that, but as far as the quality, the material that I can provide and I can help better my craft, the war zone, is not a bad place. And just not to step on your next question, but the bad place and the good place is actually the same. It's the same answer. It's going to be in the war zone because there's a hotel down there that I do Uber Eats to, and I swear to God, that's the best place that I see So if I'm able to put my material out to them, that's going to prepare me when I venture out, because a lot of comics out here, we love Albuquerque comedy, but we want to venture out, because venturing out is going to provide more opportunities for us to be able to be more marketable.
The nice thing about this conversation and entertaining the many options we have in town is no matter where a comedy club is opened, it'll be lucky enough to be our only one. This has been Comedy Ghost Town, produced and hosted by comedian Sarah Kennedy. If you'd like to find out more information about the podcast or me, you can find out more at my website, sarahkennedy.com/comedyghosttown. If you'd like to see Rusty and Curt's judgmental Albuquerque map, you can find it and the maps of other cities on judgementalmaps.com.